First, I'm going to put a pump or two of this foaming cleanser into the bottom of this. I'm gonna get just a little bit on my brush. And then I always make sure and let my client know that I'm going to be putting it on their lashes before, so I don't startle them. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just gonna gently brush down and to the side and just really get the root of those lashes, since that's where we're going to be attaching the adhesive. This is gonna cleanse all the oil and debris off so that we have a nice clean slate for our set. Once I've got it nice and sudsed up, I'm going to tilt her head to the side like this. I have my water nozzle here, and I'm gonna put the towel right at the base of her eye so that all the water is dripping off into the towel and not getting on her. Again, I'm gonna warn her before I put the water on, just so that she knows, and I always tell them to close their eyes nice and tight. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just gonna put quite a bit of water there, and always brush over to the side into the towel. Just make sure you brush it out, and then I'll readjust her and do the other side. The first thing I do always after I cleanse is I put down their eye pads. When I put on their eye pads, I'm gonna have her look straight up to the sky. I don't have her look back toward me. That can make the eye pads adjust kind of weird when she closes her eyes. So I just have her look straight up, and then I go in at like a 90-degree angle, come under the lashes like this, and kind of stretch the eye pad out as I'm placing it down. I make sure it's nice and adhered. And then I'm using the Pro Tape. I like it because it's nice and soft, really good for anyone that has like sensitive eyes. And I am going to come in, again, I kind of come in at a 90-degree angle, and then I roll down. That way I know exactly where the top of that tape is gonna lie. Now her lashes kind of point down at the edge of her lash line. So when I have someone like that, I'm gonna hold my tape at the end and just grab her lid and pull it upward so that I'm not pulling any of those top lashes into that bottom lash line. And then I'll place down. Okay, close for me. After she's closed, you can see that the iPad is just a little bit higher. So I always grab the edge of the iPad, I pull it out and down just the slightest bit, and that's gonna help so that the iPad isn't pressing into her lash line throughout the appointment. You always wanna make sure before you get started that they're nice and comfortable and that nothing is poking them or feeling weird at all. Otherwise, you'll have to deal with watering and things like that through your appointment. So I always go in with my mirror as well once she's closed, and I pull up on her upper lid and I make sure that I can see her full waterline in that mirror. What that tells me is that the tape's not going to be pressing up into her eye at all, and she'll be nice and comfortable. Okay, so the next step is I want to prime her lashes. This just helps to get rid of any of the excess oil that may be on there. Really helpful for clients that have more oily skin. Their lashes will be a little bit oilier, so this is gonna strip that from there so that you can get a nice good bond. When I use my primer, I use 2 different micro swabs, and I'm only gonna use 1 drop. You really don't need much more than that, otherwise it's gonna pool up on their iPads. So I just take that 1 drop, put it through my micro swabs, and then I'm gonna go to the natural lash and just get the root of those lashes. I don't need to worry about bringing it up to the tip just because that's not where we're going to be adhering anything. And this is so we can get a good bond. So having it at the tip of the lash really isn't gonna do any good. Once you're done priming, you can, if it's still looking a little bit wet, you can take your fan and just fan it out. It shouldn't be too super wet, so it shouldn't take a long time with your fan. Just a few seconds is fine. When I go to map, I've already talked to my client beforehand, and we've gone through a few questions to decide what it is that she would like to have on her lash. So she's someone who doesn't wear a ton of mascara on the day-to-day, so I wanted to do something a little bit more natural. We're gonna do a hybrid set on her, which is a mix of volume fans and classic lashes. So she'll have both in there to keep it a little bit more natural looking. You'll notice she does have pretty long natural lashes. So I'm gonna start at an 11 and 12 as her longest length. That's on the longer end, but since she's already used to having that length in her natural lashes, I didn't want to take her too short and have it less than what she's already used to. I'm going to do a nice natural shape on her, nothing too crazy. So I always map out the very beginning of the lashes as well as the end. And then I always start with the bulk of my length. So I look at her brow, and I can see that it starts arching up right here. So I know that that's where I kind of want her length to start. So I mark here, and then I'm gonna mark again when it starts curving back down, and I'll mark here. So I know that from here to here, that's where I want my two longest lengths at. So I divide that in the middle, and I'll put my 11s here and my 12s here. From there, I can put in all of my smaller lengths. I just always put the longest ones there because they're kind of what makes the biggest difference in your shape. And I don't want to run out of room afterwards. So I want to bump down about 2 lengths on the end just to give that nice natural curve. So I'll put my 11s here, my 10s here. And then I'm gonna work my way all the way to a 7 on this end. So I'll do my 10, 9s, 8s, and 7. You'll notice I keep my 7 and 8 section a little bit smaller than the rest, just because unless you're doing like a dramatic cat eye or something like that, you don't want those lengths to pull too far into the lash line. And then I'll do the same on the other side. Just make sure that I have it nice and balanced. So with her natural lashes being a little bit more straight, and she has a bit of a more deep set eye, I chose an M curl for her lash curl so that it has some room to lift out and upwards. That's going to lift it past the crease of her eye, and it'll have a nice good attachment on those straighter lashes. When I'm doing a hybrid set, I like to switch around and do several classic lashes, and then I switch to volume. I kind of will switch like every 15 minutes or so, all lash, all classic, and then all volume, just so I'm not bouncing around too much. So you'll notice she has different lengths in her lash line. So even though I have certain lengths set out in the map, if she has a much smaller lash than that length, I'll always put a smaller lash there just so I'm still getting a lash on, but I'm still keeping it healthy for the natural lash. I like to do my outer and inner corners first. The reason that I do this is because if your client does start to water at all, you're not going to have to deal with that water pulling up on the outer or inner corners as you're placing the lash. So although I'm working in groups of like classic for 15 minutes, then volume for 15 minutes, I still want to keep things nice and balanced throughout my sections. So here I've left like classic lashes and spacing in between them to put in my volume lashes so that it's nice and balanced once you go to switch back and forth between the two. Between these classic lashes, I'll go ahead and put in a volume fan. You just don't want any sections to be like fully volume and then fully classic. You won't get as clean and polished of a look that way. If I do ever have any like stray extensions that fall out or anything like that, I just grab them out so they're not in my way or falling into their eyes. So for this hybrid set, I'm using a 0.15 diameter and a 0.07 diameter. So your 0.07, that's going to be what I'm making my fans with, or my volume lashes, and the 0.15 is my classic. So when someone says a hybrid set, it's not necessarily the type of lash that they're using. A hybrid lash is not a thing. It's just meaning it's a hybrid mix between that classic and volume. The reason that we can use volume fans and put more than one extension on one natural lash is because they are so much lighter. So the 0.07 lash, even though you have more in a bundle in that fan, it's still going to be lightweight enough that it's not going to cause any damage to that natural lash. So I am using the Clear Magic adhesive for this set. A couple reasons clear can be beneficial. One, a lot of people believe that taking the carbon black out of the adhesive can help with allergies and irritations. So if you have someone that is allergic to that pigment, that can be helpful for them. I also just love like how clean it makes the set look, and I crystallize my fans as I go through the set. So rather than having a bunch of black adhesive on my fingers, it's at least clear so I can feel it, but I can't see it. So I don't walk out of a set looking like I have dirty hands from the black and the adhesive. It also has a really great humidity range. It's pretty versatile, as well as the temperature that it needs to be kept. So it's just a really nice flexible adhesive that works pretty much anywhere. So after I went through and made sure that nothing was stuck together, I'm also going to go through with my mirror and just double check again and make sure that none of her bottom lashes are adhered to the top lashes, and that nothing is stuck to the iPad. I like to do this instead of just waiting until they open up their eyes, because then they're not freaking out that they're stuck. It's just something that you can quickly fix before they even have to notice it. That all looks good. I'm going to remove the iPads one by one. I make sure that I pull the tape downward so that it's not snagging on their bottom lashes. Same with this side. I'm just gonna go in the direction of her bottom lashes so there's no snagging. I always take the tape off first and then the iPad. I have her stay closed until I do the other side as well. So once she's untaped, I'm gonna give her a nice mist. I'm gonna hold it just about this far away, probably like 10 inches or so, and just give her a good mist for probably 10 to 15 seconds. This is gonna help replenish the moisture from her eye. The adhesive cures with moisture, so it will dry out their eyes a little bit. So this helps with that, as well as curing the adhesive itself, which will reduce irritation. Then I wanna grab my fan, and I'm just gonna brush and fan her out at the same time, just to make sure they're all nice and fluffy after doing that mist. Okay, go ahead and open. So just to review, we used M curl 7 through 12 on this set. I used 0.15 and 0.07 as my diameter. That way you get the classic and the volume and just a nice good mix. We used the clear adhesive, and I used my 406 tweezer as my isolation and 209 for my volume. Make sure to like and subscribe, and you can shop the link below.